for the West ISD School Board monthly meeting. On March the 16th, Governor Greg Abbott granted a request by Attorney General Ken Paxton to temporarily suspend a limited number of open meetings laws to the extent necessary to allow telephonic or video conference meetings in response to the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. For more information about the suspension, see TASB's Legal Services article, quote, Texas Governor suspends certain provisions of Open Meetings Act due to coronavirus, COVID-19. That's on a PDF. In accordance with those suspended rules, we certify the following. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. 1 hour if an emergency meeting or emergency supplemental item is needed. Item number 1, although the members of the board are not gathered in a central physical location, we do have a quorum in attendance at this meeting by video conference or telephone call. Item number 2, we are meeting by use of the Zoom software application, which allows two-way communication for members of the public. Item 3, as we would at any in-person meeting, members of the public who have followed the instructions on the meeting notice for registering to speak during the public comment portion will be unmuted to speak. If the speaker submitted written comments in advance to the board secretary, and the board secretary will read the comments into record before or during the board's consideration of that item. If you would like to provide comment at a future meeting conducted by video conference or telephone call, please follow the instructions on the meeting notice. Item number 4, all other meeting procedures will adhere to board adopted procedures to the extent practical. Item number 5, an audio recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. Item number 6, the software application allows for 100 people to view and interact at a time. We apologize in advance for any unforeseeable difficulties and ask for your patience as we navigate these unprecedented conditions. Item number 7, if you have any questions about these suspended laws, please call the Office of the Attorney General at 888-672-6787 or by email at toma@oag.texas.gov. I call this meeting to order and verify that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. This time I would ask you to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the prayer. The flag is in the box where Mr. Truitt is. There. Reverend John Crowder will take and lead the pledge and the prayer. Thank you, John.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father God, we want to thank you for our time together tonight. We thank you for the ways in which you are already blessing our community and our district and our country. We pray, Lord, that you'd continue to bless through this difficult time, that you'd bring healing, wholeness, that you'd bring a sense of peace and comfort to know that you're at work and we can trust you. We ask your blessings on families of those who have already gone. We pray your blessings on those who are sick, that you'd bring healing and restoration into their lives. Tonight we pray, Lord, that you give us wisdom, help us to communicate well, help us to understand and to think clearly about all the decisions that need to be made. Help us to have a clear sense of your leadership as we move forward. We ask your continued blessings on Mr. Truitt and the administrative staff, and give them the courage and the strength, the stamina that they need to guide us in such a difficult time. We ask your blessings now on this time, and we pray for it in Christ's name and for your glory. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Readjusted. Everybody still with us? All right, that brings us to agenda item number 4, which is the audience portion. Amanda, do we have anybody who wishes to speak?
No, sir, no audience wishes.
Okay, thank you. That then brings us to item number 5, which is the consent agenda. You've had the opportunity to review this over the past several days. If there are no questions at this time, I will call for a motion to accept the consent agenda as posted in your packet. Is there a motion? Mike Garrick makes the motion. Is there a second? Jason Yannick seconds. So did you get that, Amanda? Okay, very good. Next item, agenda item number 6 is a report. It is on the West ISD's COVID-19 response plans, and that's going to be presented by Mr. Truitt. David, take it away.
Thank you. I'm excited to see our guests. We've got a large group of students here as well, and I see their instructor, Mrs. Snook. Glad our Texas government kids are with us. We've got some staff as well, so it's good to see everyone. Dr. Sparks, Ms. Adams is going to help me with this presentation as well, but I'll start off and then kick it over to her. First, I'd like to give a profound thanks to our amazing staff. They're doing an amazing job and doing everything possible to make the best of this very challenging situation. We have totally moved from a traditional learning model to an online hybrid learning model really in less than 2 weeks. Our teachers are becoming experts at Google Docs, Google Hangouts, all types of Google extensions, Schoology, teledistance learning, virtual learning, you name it, we're trying it. And the best part, they were already experts at giving grace. And frankly, we all need it right now. Our greatest challenge is still the digital divide within our attendance zone. We have students with no connectivity, with only phone connectivity, with devices but no connectivity, with spotty connectivity, and no transportation to get to connectivity. And some, no one at home to help with learning. This week, I want to share a couple of updates that we've started to help with this situation. Ms. Adams started checking out devices, and the priority was high school students, and we'll move to middle school and elementary next. Hotspots are not available. You probably saw that in a Waco Trib article today that the earliest you can get them if you order them is June. We know of an AT&T plan for disadvantaged families of $60 for 2 months that we're exploring, and we even have donations in place to assist with billing, which is what we're looking at now as far as what plans do these families have, and is there a way for us to help them with the billing to enhance their connectivity. Later in the meeting tonight, Mr. McKeska is going to present a new Chromebook rental plan for 2 months. I won't steal his thunder because that's a little later, but I think it's going to greatly help our kids. Please know we're doing everything we can also on paper. Our front office ladies come in each week and run hundreds of copies, and we're mirroring the activities the best we can. We have several methods even for collecting the work. All student assignments will be reviewed or graded using the same criteria whether the student submits the work digitally or on paper. Students will not be penalized for any inability to access the online activities or resources. Now I'd like to give 3 updates on our 3 essential services, meal bags and home learning, but one I've added, communication and dispensers of hope. First off on communication, and I know you've seen many of these things, board members. We're doing our best to become film stars with our mini videos. They're well received and we're receiving hundreds of clicks. Our Skyward School messengers are going out at a regular basis and now in Spanish as well. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, I'm updating practically every day. The website's taken a lot of work, but I think you'll all agree it looks better than it ever has with the new format. We're just having to get all the information on there, and we've spent a lot of time doing just that. The hotline number is popular. On average, I receive almost 50 calls a day on the hotline, and that's an average. It usually is closer to 75 on Monday and then tails off later in the week. It's a needed phone number. It rings all hours of the day, even late into the evenings, but on the other end is always a student or a parent that needs help with something. Admin is open every day, 8 to 4. We've got wireless connectivity obviously here as well. I wrote another West News article today explaining our plans. We're doing everything with checking email addresses in Skyward because we're learning that many of them aren't working. Our campuses and our district leadership team are holding regular Google Hangouts, and Commissioner Morath is hosting the Tuesday and Thursday calls that I regularly tune into. On the meal bag front, I'm very proud to say that our child nutrition ladies are absolutely rocking it. Mrs. Garrick is doing a fabulous job leading those ladies. And I want to remind everyone on this meeting tonight that the meal bags are for all students. We do 5 breakfasts and 5 lunch each week, and many are hot items. Ms. Garrick even includes a daily menu and preparation instructions for heating the items up. We do pickup or delivery, which is unheard of course, with masks and gloves. Our delivery numbers are even exceeding now the pickup numbers, and we're happy to do it. This past Monday, we gave out 2,910 meals, which is just an extraordinary number, and I expect the numbers to go up even more next Monday. Also during this time, Mrs. Dudick, since I see her on here, Ms. Protka have been making sure that we have paper copies to hand out. Ms. Dudick's even given out school supplies and readers as well. We have quite the operation going, and we're proud of how we're serving our kids. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Adams to talk about the learning plan, because this week started a new phase of what we're doing for our students online.
Yes, Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Truitt. As you know, the first 3 weeks we considered phase 1.
1 second, Ms. Adams. We had a question. We weren't ready fast enough. Go ahead.
Okay,
Crawshaw.
hang on. Crossroad.
There we go.
Crawshaw.
So how are the grades really being done if we're not, if we're the kids who don't have access, don't have parental help, how are we meeting the grade requirements?
I'll let Amanda, that's really her next presentation
Okay.
about what we're doing with videos, but phone calls face to face. So take it away, Amanda, and we'll see what else we can answer.
Okay, so phase 1, as you know, were the first 3 weeks, and we've moved on to phase 2 due to some guidance that we received on March 30th from TEA. In that guidance, we were encouraged to begin submission and grading of assignments, as well as providing prompt feedback to our students. So we reached out to lots of districts around the area, participated in some of these type meetings with them, and then came back together as an admin team and a department to present the idea. So pre-K through 8 looks very similar, except that for all grade levels, we're now required to finish the TEKS for each course in core subjects for the year. So we needed to start presenting new learning. So in order to do that, we had to change some of the things we were doing, but in pre-K 8, we kept a similar model in that they're still using the links that they were using previously on the Google activity sheet you may have seen. Each course subject is submitting 2 lessons with assignments a week. So the teachers are planning those. They have a cycle of Monday, Wednesday being math, science, Tuesday, Thursday is social studies and reading, and Fridays are elective classes. And so our students are participating in those, then they submit them back to their teacher either electronically or hard copy. And our feedback to them, our literal progress, how did they do on it, and the documentation of that is their grade. They will not receive a traditional number grade for things they do in phase 2 if they're in pre-K through 8. That is different at high school because of graduation requirements. Since students have to have a number of credits that are based on grades, we are moving to the Schoology platform, which our students are very familiar with. We started that this week, and they will receive traditional grades. We ask that their teachers only submit 2 lessons with assignments per week, as we feel like no student in the district should be spending more than 2.5-ish hours a day, based on some research that we've seen on distance learning and in a time of crisis. And so they will receive 2 assignments, lessons per week in each of their courses at high school, and those are subject to normal traditional grading. Those, we're keeping all those submissions in Schoology for high school, but we are still providing hard copy for those who need it. As Mr. Truitt said, I lent out several laptops this week to high school, and we're continuing to work on that. We also, for our teachers, we're holding two times per week, we're holding these meetings, these live meetings where they can get in, ask any question, we can help them plan. It's an open hour. I give updates. We let them ask anything. I've given them my personal cell phone number. We've created a new tech help email for parents and students and teachers. And they all have our email. So we're kind of all just being its support right now. We've asked the teachers and the parents and everybody involved to just remember that we need to be as flexible as we've ever been and give a lot of support and grace and give the students the time to acclimate to this new system. We feel like phase 2 will last until we're back into traditional school. And so once we've got this ironed out, our students can relax into this system and participate. The next thing we're doing is trying to continue to reach some of our students, and we're getting creative with that. So we're doing everything we can, but I just want to reiterate again that we want to continue to provide hard copies for anybody who is not available, does not have electronic or internet availability. We do that for all grades, and we even take specific orders for high school. So if they need something for their classes at high school, we provided a phone number so that they can call and Ms. Protka gets that ready. So kind of different plans for pre-K 8 with non-traditional grading, high school going into traditional grading because of credits. Okay, Mr. Tripp.
Looking for hands. Point of order real fast for Secretary Ms. Crawshaw. I want to make sure that, did we take a vote on the consent agenda or only do the first and second motion? We got everything we needed on that? Because I was trying to record it as well. Okay, sorry to get off topic, but I didn't want to move on. Ms. Crawshaw, the key is outside the box thinking. Like every day this week, my own son has gotten a phone call from a teacher to check on him, make sure that he's getting the assignments done. It's not even remotely all online. We're doing many different things, using phones probably the most, and then reaching out by video if the students have that capacity as well. So the main thing we're doing is looking at the progression of assignments, and anyone that's not engaging with us, we're seeking out. Now we've had some families move in with other families in other cities and things, so we've lost some students on this journey, but the ones that are still earning credits and wanting to finish the year strong, no gaps in learning, we're finding them and working with them where they are. Special ed, since I see Carla and Kenny's picture there, that staff has broken up the kids into groups that they check on, and they're doing it at an even more regular basis, from what I understand, than the regular classroom setting. So, questions? That was a lot from both of us. Yes, Ms. Crawshaw.
Okay, so one, I was going to ask about special ed, so I'd like more information on that and how we're taking care of OT, PT, all the related services that are needed. Secondly is how many kids have we not made contact with? And what are our, I mean, you know, we don't have a huge number of kids, but we've got a huge number of kids related to how many staff we have. So it can be problematic. I understand that.
The last count, Amanda, tell me if I'm wrong, we hadn't made contact with 238 out of 1340. I mean, I still were getting calls on the hotline today, Ms. Crawshaw, parents asking me if we were doing anything right now for the kids. So, you know, all the ways I just described earlier that we're communicating, we're still not reaching a segment, or I might add, they don't want to be reached. And I mean that respectfully, because some are probably enjoying the time away and don't want us to find them. So then work and things need to be done. But now that we're down to the 238, we're gonna keep trying to get that number even lower, and that's what we're working on this week. To your other question, I'm going to let Carla speak about that since she's online here. So I'm going to let her answer any sped questions. Take it away, Mrs. Sikora.
Yes, thank you for that question. Our special education staff has worked tirelessly on contacting all the students. We have not gotten in touch with everyone, like Mr. Truitt said. We are rolling out tomorrow contingency plans put out by Walsh Anderson. And essentially it's a formal way to document all of those conversations that our staff has had with the families and offering services. We started teletherapy today with regard to speech therapy. All related services have called and offered services. It's a little bit bumpy when you're trying to do related services at home, specifically because related services are usually done in access to the school building itself. So we are offering the services. Not everyone's taken us up on those, but those are being formally documented in the continuity plan that our attorneys developed.
Am I on? There we go. Sorry. Last thing is the counseling component of it, because, you know, there's lots of research out there that about violence of all different kinds, and those kids that are struggling anyway before even this came on. And do we have a counseling number? What are we doing to try and take care of those guys?
Ms. Croshaw, we're using the hotline number for that as well, but our counselors are doing an amazing job with surveys with the kids where they're submitting their needs, and then they're responding. We have a counseling site up for different links that are needed during this time. They're including lessons. It's not just academics, but each grade level has information from their counselors that they're doing on a weekly basis and that we're running off for hard copies as well. They're working overtime. I've seen Mrs. Levinka, for example, up here at admin working with kids every day this week. So they know which kids they need to be checking on, and whether it's by calling or texting or even seeing some at meal bag day, for example, they're making sure that our list is being taken care of. I saw Claudia's jumped on, so if Ms. McLaughlin wants to add to that, I know she's on here. If Amanda wants to unmute her, I don't want to put her on the spot, but I saw her on here, which is kind of a cool thing about Zoom. No biggie if not, Claudia. I probably should add, I do know I've seen a remind group. So they're reaching out kind of like the elementary is doing with a texting group. And I've seen some logs and even talked to Ms. Protka about this, since I see her in the picture as well, that I know they're checking on them on a daily basis. And I know Dr. Pantel, who has a group that she counsels with, that's occurring as well. Susan's been up here quite a bit over the last 5 weeks and making sure that her list is being checked on. I didn't mean to put Claudia on the spot. I'm sorry. Dr. Sparks, that concludes item number 6. Ms. Adams, I think we should leave Dr. Sparks off mute just so he can keep the agenda going. So let's just leave him off mute, please.
Okay. All right. That brings us to agenda item number 7, which is a public hearing. It's West ISD's proposed amendment to the District of Innovation, known as the DOI plan. Originally, this was approved by the board on May the 10th of 2017. The purpose of this amendment is to provide West ISD extended flexibility under the Texas Education Code 22004I, preclusion from providing alternative uniform group coverage program, Chapter 1579 of the Insurance Code, and related board policies, CRD legal and local, in order to seek new employee health care services. Our presenter is going to be Mr. Truitt.
Thank you, Dr. Sparks. And we've got Mr. McKeska too, if you have any questions about the possible new health insurance piece that we're pursuing. Just as a reminder to our viewers, we have 2 goals with this DOI amendment piece. We're looking for alternatives to our TRS healthcare plan. And tonight I'm seeking your approval through the public hearing first, and then the action item to amend our May 2017 DOI plan. I want to first take you through the process. If you'll remember, board members, Mr. McKeska came at the start of this year to share a vision and idea that this might be a possibility for West ISD. Our remaining members of the original DOI team signed off on the amendment. Our district advisory team signed off on the amendment. And on the March 4th board meeting, you heard the presentation. As you know, it had to be posted for 30 days, and I immediately posted the amendment with all information, including the sign-off sheets by the applicable committees on March 5th, and 30 days ended on April 3rd in order to make the agenda for tonight. As Dr. Sparks mentioned, we're seeking flexibility under Texas Education Code 22.004, Chapter 1579, and Board Policy CRD Legal and Local. Our goal in this is that our current process allows no flexibility in the design of group health insurance benefits to fit the needs of all West ISD employees. I think simpler stated, it's expensive and not very good insurance. This provision also prohibits the district from procuring group health insurance benefits that may provide better coverages for our employees and at a lower cost. The provision limits the district's ability to be innovative in employee recruitment and retention, as well as limiting our ability to implement innovative health and wellness programs designed to reward employees who exercise good wellness preventative practices and better self-care. As we enter the public hearing phase of this for all of our guests, if anyone has a question about the needs in the district to go out for this amendment to our DOI plan, I'll take those questions at this time.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Truitt or Mr. McKeska?
This is an opportunity again for anyone on the screen to ask questions about why we want better health care for our staff. I know it's pretty self-explanatory, but we can answer anything. And I should have said better and cheaper. Mr. McKeska, would you like to add anything?
They cannot unmute themselves, so if they have a question, please raise your hand so that we can see and unmute you.
Thank you for that reminder.
Any board members, any audience members? Okay. If not, thank you very much for that report, David. We'll move on then to action item or agenda item number 8, which is an action item. It's consideration and possible action by the board to approve the proposed amendment to the District of Innovation Plan. Again, originally approved by the board on May the 10th, 2017, to consider extended flexibility under Texas Education Code 221004I, preclusion from providing alternative uniform group coverage program, Chapter 1579 of the Insurance Code, and related board policies, CRD legal and local. Again, this is taking action on the public hearing and the information that Mr. Truitt just provided for us. The floor is open for a motion to address public hearing action 7 and action item number 8.
So moved.
Okay, the motion's been made by Lee Crawshaw. Is there a second? Second by Holly. All right. All those, please show of hands in the screen. Has everybody got their hand? Okay. All right. Those are for. Those opposed, same sign. Okay. The vote carries 7-0. Did you get that, Lee? Are we good to go? Okay. Very good. Thank you so much. Agenda
Mr. Adams, Mr. Yannick has a question.
Oh,
I know you tried to address this a second ago, Mr. Truitt, but I don't think we actually ever voted on item number 5 on the agenda. I think we did the motion in the second, but I don't think we ever actually voted.
Lee will have to verify that for us. Ms. Crawshaw, do you have a 7-0 vote for action item 5?
Mike Garrett, Mike did it, and then John seconded.
But then we did a vote for, you have 7-0 down?
Yes.
Okay.
the only thing I failed to is ask y'all to show your hand. So, all right. Very good. Let's go to action item number 9, which is consideration and possible action by the board to approve the 2020-2021 out-of-district student transfer request presented by Mr. Truitt.
If I could, before moving to 9 on number 8, I just wanted to tell everyone the next steps briefly. There's a letter I have to send to Commissioner Abbott, and then they post our amended DOI plan on their website, and that's all it takes. And so our plan will be linked to the TEA website, and again, the letter serves notice of the vote tonight. So I'll take care of both those things this week. For number 9, this is an annual request as we get our letters together for 2021. Again, the list that's in your packet doesn't mean all those kids are coming back. They're just the eligible ones. I want to let you know that 8 were not approved by Mrs. Cosda and Mr. Clander. And again, we look at discipline grades, attendance, and usually STAR, but don't have that data piece this year. As you can see on the list, we've got 134 total, and I want to remind you the yellow ones are employee transfers. Really what approval tonight generates is, again, the letter from Mrs. Kettler. I want to remind y'all that we're doing our best not to have any new transfers at West Elementary unless they're employee or a sibling. And at 6-12, we'll look at case by case. We're not at a point right now in our district where we need those numbers or seeking those numbers. I want to continue to offer it as an incentive to employees, current or new. You guys always like to hear where the kids are coming from. I'll run through the list because I have this data on hand. Conley 62, Aquila 12, Golson 11, Hillsborough 8, China Springs 7, Penelope 5, La Vega 5, Axtell 4, Waco 3, Clifton 3, Mount Calm 3, Lorena 2, Abbott 2, Midway 2, Hubbard 2, Covington 2, and Robinson 1. Are there any questions?
Lee?
Ms. Crawshaw and Holly?
Okay.
So,
go ahead. Oh,
you
go ahead.
No,
Lee.
you go ahead. Okay.
Okay.
So you're really saying that because of our space, we're not taking anybody else in the elementary?
Yes, it's important with our Race to an A plan. We work with our kids in West that are currently in our classrooms, and we want to keep our classrooms as small as possible, even with the addition of the grade 2 and 5 fifth teacher next year. I think our staff would agree. Let's continue on with who we have and who we're working with, and if we can help out an employee with the transfer, we should do that.
And so once we have our new building, we will reconsider all this.
It's a year-by-year basis.
Okay.
You guys know there's some years where we might have a grade level that's in the 70s or 80s, so there might be a financial incentive for us to consider it, but I would not propose it without y'all's input and without Ms. Cosda's input and talking with the staff as we move forward. It's just not a need right now for us in West. I've shared with y'all that for Mr. McKesky and me, an optimum budget figure of student enrollment is around 1340. We know the staff we have right now, as far as a staffing plan, can work with that figure. Mr. Clander would say that's a healthy, large 3A high school, and that's our goal, to stay as a large 3A high school for UIL purposes. And to answer your question, I'd bring that to you before we considered it. I wouldn't just open that back up for consideration without much dialogue with you guys as a team of 8.
Drew, have you guys done any kind of a study at all as to whether you think that the transfer students could potentially be contributing to some of the lower scores that we're seeing with STAR in that scenario?
I can absolutely tell you we have the data on that because I'm looking at it right now in my packet, Holly. My best way to answer that question is any transfer who's not an employee transfer or sibling of an employee transfer must meet our standards on STAR grades, attendance, and discipline, or they won't keep their transfer. So the only ones that would not contribute in the way you're asking is if it's employees' child, because they have,
Which is okay, yeah.
they stay as transfers for the entirety all the way through grades 12 if they desire so.
Okay, so then pre-K through second would just be, there are no requirements then for them.
That's a great point. Well, we look at data. We're looking at their progress monitoring. We're looking at their different unit assessments they're doing. And if it's an area of emphasis, Ms. Cosda asked me about those students, and that's why there's 8 not coming back. So,
Okay.
So we do our best without the STAR data on that one. Harder to do, and it's why you're hearing me say we shouldn't get into this adding pre-K and K. Let's keep those classes at a good class size for, you know, West ISD bound within our attendance zone kids, and let's roll.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any more
Ms.
questions?
Adams, do you want to add to that? I don't see Ms. Costa. Her father-in-law passed away, so she's not with us tonight. Do you want to add on those data points for Ms. Willis?
For pre-K2, we look at, you guys are very familiar with our iStation every month. We look at all that data, as well as the new benchmark assessment data that we're using for reading. And so those are the data points, the hard, solid data points we use along with whatever the other things that Mr. Truitt mentioned, discipline and others.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Any more questions? If not, at this time, the floor is open for a motion to address agenda item number 9 to approve the 2020-2021 out of district student transfer requests.
Move to approve.
Okay, John Crowder has made the motion to move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Mike Garrick has seconded. Okay, Lee, do you have that? Okay. All of those in favor of the motion as presented, please show of hands. Okay, all of those opposed, same sign. 7-0. Thank you very much. Agenda item number 10 is also an action item. It's the consideration and possible action by the board to approve the Texas Education Agency's, the TEA, educator appraisal due to the circumstances related to the COVID-19 general state waiver for the 2019-2020 school year. Mr. Truitt, would you enlighten us on that?
Yes, TEA is offering another waiver like you took up during the special call meeting last month for T-tests and T-PES. Remember, T-test is for teachers, T-PES is for administrators. Many of those appraisals have STAR goals in them, and of course, being out of school, we will not meet the summative timeline based on the calendar I placed in your packets. So by using this state waiver that they're offering, and it's exactly what it says. The T-test and T-PES for this year will be waived. For staff that are on the Zoom tonight, and for ones that we're hoping to get the local waiver for exemption, we're going to review what was already put into Eduphoria Strive, and we will take that into consideration as a year towards the exemption. I don't want anyone that's worked hard through March not to still have that consideration. And so we'll meet with the appraisers about reviewing those one last time, and then Ms. Adams can pull that to consider that as a year towards the exemption. So tonight I'm seeking your approval, like every district in the state of Texas is doing, to exempt T-tests and T-pests for this year.
All right. The floor is now open for a motion to address the items presented by Mr. Truitt.
So moved.
Molly has made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jason has seconded. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please show of hands. Okay, thank you. Those opposed, same sign. 7-0. Did you get all that, Lee? Good to go? All right. Next agenda item is an action item also. It's the consideration and possible action by the board to adopt a resolution approving the purchase of real property located on Jerry Moshik Drive in Pushovsky Lane in West Texas, being 19 and 7/10 acres of land, more or less, out of the quarter section 1 and 2, section 11, University Lands, Mclennan County, Texas. This is the property north of the West Middle and High School campus. Purchasing it from Rise Up Fitness of West, LLC. And Mr. McKeska will present us with that information.
Yes, as you recall from prior conversations, this is the land on our northern boundary that we have negotiated with Mr. Harris and Mr. Morris, and we are done with the contract and ready to proceed.
All right. Mr.
The 19.7 acres is not definite. As we order a survey, that'll change slightly up or down, and we'll adjust the price accordingly.
Mr. Truitt, since we have an audience here, should I read the resolution to purchase this in total, or?
It's not required, sir.
Okay.
The key is the information that's in the action item.
Very good.
And it's the land behind the baseball and softball outfield, stretching to along Jerry Moshik, of what I will politely describe as the lady with all the dogs, and then stretches back to the tree line. And we have a vision of that being ag services, CTE program space, could be a future site for additional parking, whatever future superintendents and boards dream big about. There's a lot of possibilities, and so we're really excited about bringing that into the fold of almost 20 acres that borders our north attendance, or excuse me, our property boundary.
A great opportunity for us, certainly, and for the future of West ISD. If there are no other questions for Charles or Mr. Truitt and stuff, I will call for a motion on action item number 11, the purchase of the land.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Lee Crawshaw. Is there a second? Mike Garrick seconds it. All those in favor of the motion to purchase the property as described, show of hands, please. All those opposed, same sign. It's 7-0. Thank you very much. Agenda item number 12 is also an action item. It's the consideration and possible action by the board to adopt a resolution approving the purchase of real property located on Cottonwood Road, also known as Farm to Market 2114 in West Texas, being 30 acres of land, more or less, out of the H.D. Callan Survey, Mclennan County, Texas, south of the West Middle School High School campus, from the Helen Matouche Living Trust. Mr. McKeska, and
This, as you recall, the land directly behind our high school property on 2114, approximately 30 acres. The contract is finalized, and we are ready to proceed.
great. Thank you, Charles, for all the hard work, and you, David, also for y'all's vision.
Yes, sir.
Floor is now open for a motion to purchase the 30 acres, more or less, there from the Helen Matouche Trust. All those, is there a motion to do so? Holly, I saw you make the motion. Lee, I saw your hand go up to second it. All those in favor of the motion to purchase this land, please show of hands. Okay, very good. Those opposed, same sign. There are none. 7-0 vote. Thank you very much. That brings us to
Dr. Sparks, can I
Yes.
just add to our guests? This is the site, obviously, the new West Elementary School. So in my mind, this is a historic agenda item that we're securing the land for the future of our youngest learners. In total, we're adding almost 50 acres for the future of West ISD. And I couldn't be more thrilled. I'd like to thank Mr. McKeska, because he's worked tirelessly on these contracts, and it's been quite the journey since we started this early last fall, and we're just now approving it. But I see a lot of West Elementary teachers in particular on Zoom tonight. And for all you ladies that I see on here, this means we can do our groundbreaking ceremony really soon. So I'm super excited. Go West Elementary School.
I want to jump in here. One, we can't do it until all the restrictions are lifted, unfortunately. Two, I'm hearing what Jason was saying, and I want to make sure that item number 5, we do go back and vote, because I would hate for it to come back up in our recording that shows that we did not actually vote. So my brain doesn't hear it or not hear it. So I want to make sure that we go back, and Mike Garrett initiated it. John seconded, but I want to do the actual vote, if you guys don't mind, just to double check us.
No, that's perfectly fine. And this is on the consent agenda.
Yes,
some
I'm
boards
sorry.
don't even vote on the consent agenda, but we will take and do that. The motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of accepting the consent agenda as presented, please show of hands. Okay, all those opposed to the consent agenda, same sign. Okay, there are none, so it is 7-0. Thank you very much for your diligence. We want to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. Action item number 13, or agenda item number 13, is an action item. It's the consideration and possible action by the board to approve the interlocal purchasing method for technology, supplies, and equipment for student use due to the circumstances related to COVID-19. Mr. McKeska is going to present to us.
Yes, in lieu of the recent events, the administration thought it necessary to nab, if you will, 400 Chromebook devices. And we are working through a short-term lease. This company actually sends them directly to the student we secured an agreement with the parent. This company sends them directly to the parent or to the student. And then when we're done with them, this company receives them and the parent ships them back. So we never even have to touch them. They're going to set them up the way we want it, and it's really a good deal versus what we can buy them for. So we'll keep them as many months as we need them. And this motion is asking for the interlocal procurement method to be approved by the board, so we can use that method to buy them or to rent them. Excuse me.
All right, Holly, you have a question?
How quickly can we get those?
There's a 48-hour turnaround once we get the agreements back from the parents. So relatively quickly.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. McKeska regarding this technology?
I would caveat that we are working through the final details. You know, anything can happen. Our attorney is vetting it now. I don't foresee an issue, but you know, it's not a done deal yet, but it's mighty close.
Okay, very good. Any other questions before I call for a motion? If not, is there a motion on agenda item number 13 as presented by Mr. McKeska?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Lee Crawshaw. Holly, I saw your hand go up. She seconds it. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please show of hands. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, there are none. 7-0. All right. It is now 7:19. At this time, we will adjourn into closed executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Chapter 551, 071, 072, 074, and 129.
You take me off. To our many guests and our students that are getting an assignment done tonight, the way this is going to work, because we're in Zoom, you're going to see the 7 board members and myself leave this Zoom and go to another Zoom. But here's the irony: we'll come back to another Zoom later, to this Zoom later. Excuse me, I didn't say that correctly. So if you want to wait around, I don't have any way of telling you how long to wait. If you just want to leave it up, or maybe this meets your assignments. Ms. Snook is saying this is good, and she's saying, all right, we got a thumbs up. So I think our student, for the staff, there's 2 agenda items left: approval of the personnel report, and then the 2021 certified employee contracts. You're welcome to wait as well, but the way those 2 agenda items will work, they'll just approve the personnel report just by name. It doesn't go through staff names. And on 15B for the contracts, they'll just approve the contracts as a whole. They don't go through all the staff names for that as well. So I just wanted to clarify that. Those are the last 2 items. So we'll be back to do those 2 as soon as we can. But again, you'll see us exit this meeting and go into another one. Thank you all for being here tonight. Go Trojans and Lady Trojans.
Very good. Thank you. See you in a minute. Action relative to those items we considered during closed executive session. Mr. Truitt.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Crawshaw, we're going to start on 15A. Tonight I'm seeking your approval of the personnel report as presented. It had the 1 position approval as far as the candidate goes. So tonight, I'm seeking your approval for the personnel report.
Okay. Floor is open for a motion to address that item. John Crowder has made the motion. Is there a second? Second by Mike Garrick. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hands. Show of hands. All right. All those opposed, same sign. There are none. 7-0. Mr. Truitt.
Ms. Crawshaw, 15B. Tonight I'm seeking your approval for the 2020-2021 certified employee contracts, administrator, dual term, and probationary contracts as presented.
All right, the floor is open for a motion to address this item as presented. Kenny makes the motion. Is there a second? Jason makes a second. All those in favor of the motion as presented, show of hands, please. All those opposed, same sign. 7-0, Lee. All right, thank you very much.
For our 4 guests, I know that was anticlimactic, but we're going to try something new with electronic contracts. I'm thrilled about the folks that are going to join us in 2021. Thrilled about our personnel report, which the community will hear more about shortly. It's been a banner night for West ISD with all the incredible decisions and approvals you guys done for us with the learning plan, the technology, but again, historic night with the land purchases for the future of West. So thank you all for your support, and thank you to the guests that stuck with us through the night.
Yeah, I want to thank you all for taking and enduring with us and this kind of unique format for certainly for me and for other folks and stuff. And I want to thank the school board members for being here for the West ISD and all your input. With no further ado, I'll call for a motion for adjournment and to close our meeting. Ah!
Wow, Crowder.
Oh, yeah.
Wrong. Lisa,
John's gone to IHOP, so.
wow.
So
Wow.
I'm just gonna go have some beanie weenies now, so. Yeah. All right, floor's open for a motion to adjourn. Jason has made the motion. Holly has seconded it. All those in favor, you can leave the meeting then. Thank you very much, one and all. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks to Miss Adams for co-hosting. Thank you.
And if I don't see y'all between now and Sunday, y'all have a very, very happy Easter.
You too. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Good night.